We have had a lot of snow in February. We're trying to do our best to keep the deck clean so the dogs can get out. And we're getting ready to go to bed, and we're supposed to get a lot of snow. And the Weather Channel was correct. We did get a lot of snow overnight, and it is not done. Everybody is home today, and I thought it would be the perfect day to bake some bread. So I got my recipe out. I have everything in the KitchenAid mixer, and I'm gonna let it do all of the work while I clean everything up from last night. We had pancakes and sausage. It was just one of those nights that things didn't get cleaned up, and that's okay. So the machine did all the work. I'm gonna put it in the bowl, put it in the oven to rise, and it is 7:37 a.m. Steve is out doing the first snow removal, so I always like to make him eggs and toast. I'm loving my mugs. I have our cups ready for our second cup, and everything is cleaned up for now. Hunter had to go out. He couldn't wait, so he made a little path, and I said to Linus, do you want to go out? And he kind of looked at me, and I immediately thought of this Lucy meme. So anyways, he's going to wait until everything gets cleared up. So when Steve came in, he just made a quick little path to let the dogs out, and I'll deal with it later. But definitely a lot of snow and a lot more to come. But I don't know, there's something about being at home with a snow day and just not having to worry about anything. So we got a lot, and I'm doing, a little bit of everything today, but I do want to spend a little bit of time in the kitchen. I'm cleaning some things up, and I just like to do things gradually. So I just felt like this shelf needed a little bit of cleaning, just kind of seeing what I have and just doing little things here and there instead of making a great big task that I can't get done in one day. I have some strawberries in the freezer from the summertime, and I've been thinking about making jam, and what better way to have lunch on a snow day than with homemade bread and peanut butter and jelly. So I have my scale out, and I will link the recipe down below. It calls for 2 16-ounce bags of frozen strawberries, so I'm just getting my weights all figured out just so I know what strawberries I have, and then I'll try and figure out how much sugar I should add. So I am just going to put the strawberries in here on low, and then I'm going to check them every 5 minutes and just kind of use my masher to push them down and try and, do it slowly. I don't want to do it quickly. I'm doing other things, and I'm just setting the timer for 5 minutes, a couple of splashes of lemon juice, and I'm going to continue that until all of the strawberries are kind of thawed out a little bit. I have the strawberries to the consistency I like, and then I'm adding in the sugar. I started off with 3/4 of a cup, and then I added a little bit more, and then you're supposed to bring it to a boil and then let it boil for 10 to 15 minutes. So I stayed pretty close to the stove here. It smells really good with those summer strawberries and the bright red color. Now it said to take a plate and put it in the freezer so that way you can test it. You're supposed to put a little bit on the plate and then run a finger through it. And if it stays separated, it means it's done. So I'm going to put it on, run my little finger through, and as you can see, it's definitely running back together. So I'm going to put this back in, and then I'm going to put another plate in the freezer and then boil it for another 10 to 15 minutes. And it was perfect. I did the same little taste test, and as I ran my finger through it, it stayed spread apart. jam is in a bowl. I'm going to put it in the fridge to let it thicken up a little bit more for lunch. And then I'm taking this pumpkin spice yogurt. It's a Mediterranean style yogurt. It's from Liberté. I think it's like 9% fat. It's very rich and indulgent, but I find it's better to put it in a bowl and mix it up because all of the pumpkin is at the bottom, and then that way I can enjoy it when I want to. So the dough has done its second rising. I'm trying to figure out these pans. So far, I'm really liking what I am seeing. So there's about 16 minutes left. I've been doing things with Andrew. I called my mom. Steve's kind of working from home. I took out hamburger soup to have for dinner. And then I'm going to get the dishes and everything cleaned up again. We had another cup of coffee. And the dishwasher is done running. So I'm going to get it all emptied and everything cleaned up. And then hopefully the bread will be ready to come out of the oven. They're looking pretty good, so I'm going to take some butter and just run it over the top. I really like the butter sticks, but I have this great big thing of butter left from Christmas, so I'm just trying to use it up. I find the one is a little bit lighter than the other, and I feel like this recipe from Sally's Baking Addiction, I'll link it down below. I feel like it's too much for one loaf, but not quite enough for two. So if you have a recipe, link it down below, help me out. And I know some of you have said you've used this recipe, so I don't know if I need to let them rise a little bit longer, but if you have any tips, I would appreciate it. But these were great. So anyways, it's almost 11 o'clock right now. I have a little bit of time for myself, and I want to go out and enjoy a little bit of the snow day. So I'm going to clean off the deck as best I can so the boys can get out a little bit. Everything is being snow removed. Everything is still covered in snow. So we just want to make sure that the boys can get out and do what they need to do. A little peek into the fridge. I'm just going to clean up some things. So we have, I think, 3 carrots left. We're going to finish up these little clementines. There's some vanilla yogurts. The jam is looking really good. So I think I'm going to put it in the freezer for about 10-15 minutes before lunch just to kind of have it thicken up a little bit. Just cleaning up some odds and ends because I'm going to be going to Costco soon. So to stay tuned, that video will be up shortly. I also have some dip. So we're just going to clean up some odds and ends, a couple of turkey pepperettes, and then enjoy the fresh bread and jam and peanut butter. And the boys have showed up for their shift after they had a little bit of outside time. So they definitely want to inspect the carrots to make sure that they are good to eat. And then we are going to slice up the bread. And there's just something about being home on a snow day with everybody home. It makes me want to be in the kitchen, like that sense of homemaking and, cooking and baking stuff from scratch, but still using some things that are pre-made, like the dip and the peanut butter. So I am going to slice up the bread, and everybody's going to have some lunch, and it's going to be delicious and just so enjoyable to have everybody home on this cozy winter February day. Andrew love the sandwich. I decided to have mine open because I wanted to see that beautiful jam. It was so good. The bread was perfect. And Hunter's like, is there a sandwich for me too? He's just always here. He's so sweet. And Linus is like, Eddie, for me too. Look at the little tail wagging. So it's definitely been a busy day, and I wanted to do something for Valentine's Day. So we made some sprinkle cookies. Andrew taste tested one. It's Christmas sprinkles, but most importantly, there is red and white. I will link the recipe down below. They're really, really simple. More dishes to clean up, but that's okay. Now, I am not one for, difficult things. So instead of making balls and rolling it into the sprinkles, I take a half a cup of sprinkles and add it into the mix. And then just like the Andes cookies, I just use my cookie scoop to take them out. So this is the rest of this one loaf of bread. We'll finish it off for dinner. And then we have some more to enjoy. So I'm pretty much done with all the things that need to be done, and now I'm going to have a little bit of time for myself with a little bit of coloring. I just wanted to be real with all of you because I was reflecting on a few years ago when life was just very different. My husband was transitioning from the military into a new career. We were trying to maneuver everything with our son, with school and the pandemic, and then the adult world of autism, and then everything that was happening with my mom. And during that time, once everybody kind of fell into their place, I fell apart because I was completely burnt out, exhausted, and I couldn't even really take care of myself. And it took me a long time to get back to everything. And I've kind of been sharing a little bit of that since I kind of restarted everything here in 2024. But coloring has something that has really helped me the past year with taking my mind off of things and letting me have my little me time. So I just wanted to share that with all of you. If you want to know more about the coloring, you can go back. I talk about it during Vlogmas and then also in the February kind of goals video. But anyways, these are from Megan Miles Art. So I have a year of coloring page still to do. So I want to put it in at the front because December is the first that I started and you have to cut the pages down to fit. So January, I wish I would have done it all blue and grays to kind of go with how I decorate. But February, I definitely kept it with that Valentine red decor theme, and the back of the sheets are almost as beautiful as the front. So something that I've picked up that I really, really enjoy. And I kept it quiet for a while, but I know a lot of you have been enjoying coloring too. So this is all done, and now I'm going to have another little pick-me-up. The soup is in the pot. It's 3:17. I just made myself a coffee in my favorite mug. This creamer, I'm just flying through it. It's really more like regular creamer, so I'm going to add a little bit of this. Everything is cleaned up. I'm going to freeze this container of cookies. Steve's going to take it out before we have coffee. because everything will get eaten, and then I have some under here that we can enjoy and we can eat them until they're gone. So I'm just going to have one with my coffee to test them, and they were delicious. And there's the bread. We're going to have some of it with dinner, and then the other we're going to enjoy later. And there's the jam recipe, so I will link that down below. So it's time for a little afternoon pick-me-up with a cup that I just adore, and it's still snowing out, and there's more to come in the next couple of days. I am so glad I had this soup in the freezer, because by this time of the day I was exhausted. I didn't want to clean anything else up, but we're having a nice homemade dinner with homemade bread. I'm going to cook the macaroni separate, but I think it would have been a lot nicer if I would have cooked it in the soup, but I didn't want to have it too mushy. So I have the strainer ready to go. I sliced up the bread, some towels to put away, so we have the full loaf left. And then I'm also going to get everything ready so my husband has lunch for the next day, and just always trying to think ahead so I don't have as much to do in the evening. And whenever I'm on top of everything just kind of comes together so smoothly. Hunter is always waiting. So here's the dinner. I found the macaroni wasn't as flavorful as if I would have cooked it in the soup, but Steve said it was really great for lunch the next day. He said it was almost like eating a casserole. So I hope you enjoyed this wintry day. It was mostly me in the kitchen, but I spent a lot of time with my son, my husband, the boys, and I called my mom too. It's harder to talk to her on the phone, but I'm also very happy that she is being very well taken care of. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you all soon.